It's 21 News, Chief Meteorologist Eric Wilhelm. This is the video we call Weather for Weather Geeks. It's our daily deep dive into our local weather, and a lot of times in these videos we look backwards before we look forwards, and since today is March 1st, it's the start of a new meteorological season, springtime. We're going to review the winter a little bit, but a more in-depth review of the winter season will go online this evening on my weather blog, ericwfmj.com. So here are the temperature numbers for the winter season as a whole. It ended up being a little warmer than average. 1.8 degrees warmer than the average. December and January were fairly significantly warmer than average. Now, we look back at December and January and we don't remember a lot of warmth, right? Well, we didn't have any sort of real crazy spikes in temperatures that we oftentimes see in midwinter. We've had a lot of mid-January thaws in recent years. We didn't this year. Also, it was more the overnight low temperatures as opposed to the high temperatures that skewed the numbers in December and January. We had a lot of clouds. We didn't have a lot of Arctic air masses, and so it didn't get very cold at night in the first two-thirds of winter, and that, again, kind of skewed the numbers a little bit. But February, of course, a much different deal with a much different pattern across North America. We saw an Arctic outbreak that, while it was pretty bad around here, it was a lot worse off to our west. Here's where we stand in terms of snow. Now, I did not update this graphic after the climate report came out, and we picked up 0.1 inches of snow at the airport this afternoon with scattered snow flurries. But before then, we had 53.5 for the season so far, 3.5 inches above the average, pretty close to average, and certainly a lot more than we had last year through today's date. We had 42.9 through March 1st last year. We had 0 measurable snow in all of March last year. Already today with that 0.1, we picked up more than we did all of last March. Again, on my weather blog this evening, ericwfmj.com, I'm going to review the winter, talk about our winter forecast and how we did. We're going to look forward to spring, March, and then the spring season. What does the forecast have in store? And talk a little bit about severe weather and some reminders about severe weather as we get into that season later on in the spring and early in the summer. So again, just a review of the meteorological seasons. March, April, May makes up meteorological spring. Why do we have these meteorological seasons? Well, a couple of reasons. One, we like tidy record keeping in the weather business, and when you separate the seasons out like this, they always begin and end on the same days. That makes for tidier record keeping. Also, this kind of lines up more with the climatological averages, the sensible weather. If you group together the months like this, it just makes a little bit more sense. The astronomical seasons, the kind of traditional seasons, if you will, it's based on the Earth's position in our orbit around the sun, and that, of course, astronomical spring begins in about 3 weeks. Our average high on today's date is 40, but by May 31st, 73 is the average high. So, got a long way to go until then, but a pretty fast climb in our averages, both on the high side and the low side, of course, over the next several weeks. We're gaining a lot of daylight. In the month of February, we gained an hour and 10 minutes, and this month, we gained more daylight than any other month. We gain an hour and 25 minutes of daylight. And of course, daylight saving time returns now in less than 2 weeks, coming up in 13 days on Sunday the 14th. All right, some flurries, some snow showers. These actually packed a little bit of a punch in a couple of spots this afternoon. Had a couple of pretty vigorous lake-enhanced and lake-effect snow showers. These are going to fade away, though, as we head into the evening. A lot of the ice, of course, has diminished on Lake Erie, so the lake is pretty wide open for business, even though the water temperatures are quite cold, and the difference in the water temperatures and the air temperatures are not nearly as big as back in the late fall and early in the winter. It's still enough that you can see a little lake effect in a regime like this, and it's definitely cooling off. At midnight last night, we were in the mid-50s. Now we've fallen all the way down below freezing, and we will tumble back into the teens tonight. The wind has been a factor this afternoon, gusting to 20 to 30, 35 in some spots, and wind chills by tomorrow morning. It's going to be a reminder that, hey, we're not in May yet. It's still early March, and it can get pretty cold. Wind chills will be down in the single digits as tomorrow gets underway, but lots of sunshine in store for our Tuesday. No surprise with the recent snowmelt and rain that a flood warning is out for Eagle Creek near Braceville. This is a spot that oftentimes runs real high in the late winter and into the spring, even with modest amounts of rain. We're in minor flood stage right now, which means up to about 9.5 feet or so. This will probably stay a little above flood stage through the night tonight, diminishing for tomorrow. And actually, we have no rain in the forecast for the next 7 days, so this will not be an ongoing problem. High pressure pays us a visit tomorrow. Bright and sunny, but yeah, cold in the morning. We'll get above freezing in the afternoon. Then a warm front pushes to the east Wednesday, and this is a one-day warm-up on Wednesday as we get up to around 50 degrees and a decent amount of sunshine for our Wednesday, some afternoon clouds. Now, this will be a cloudier day on Thursday, and we get back into a northerly flow in the wake of that cold front. And so while we'll get up to 50 Wednesday, we'll probably stay in the mid-30s at best on Thursday. And again, a fairly cloudy day, but thankfully we don't have a lot of cloudy days in the forecast. I think we're back to sunshine by Friday in the weekend. So with the exception of Wednesday, on balance, this is a pretty chilly forecast through the upcoming weekend. I think we start to turn the corner rapidly early next week. 50, maybe even a little bit conservative for a high a week from today. I think we got a lot of 50s in our future for next week. I think 60s are going to be attainable, maybe during midweek, middle of next week. I certainly wouldn't bet against some 60s at this point. This is a great looking map. If you are longing for some mild weather, all the blue is out west, and warmer than average temperatures are almost a lock at this point for next week. And the month of March overall does not look all that cold. Now, the second half of the month may feature more frequent cold shots than this kind of 10 to 14 day period starting next week. But that remains to be seen. Certainly next week, I think we're in for a real treat, temperature-wise. Thanks for watching tonight's weather for Weather Geeks. Again, look on my blog, ericwfmj.com. I'll link to it on social media. That post reviewing winter and talking about the spring forecasts. I'll see you back here tomorrow evening for a fresh edition of Weather Geeks.